I be getting to the money. Everybody mad. I think I'm getting too much money. Everybody mad.
What's up, Wealth Babe? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. On this channel, we discuss all things wealth. So if you're interested in more wealth building content, be sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell to turn on post notifications so that you don't miss out on any videos. In today's video, we are going to discuss index funds. If you haven't yet, be sure to check out Monday's video, which was on mutual funds. And I also want to bring to your attention that there are 3 popular investment vehicles or funds. One is mutual funds, which we discussed Monday. 2 is index funds, which we'll be elaborating on today. And the 3rd is exchange traded funds, also known as ETFs, which we'll talk about later. So watch Monday's video. I'll link it in the cards above, and let's go ahead and elaborate on index funds. Before we hop into index funds, I think it's very imperative that we quickly recap 2 big points about mutual funds. The first of those points is that mutual funds are very convenient, because instead of having to purchase individual stocks, you could just purchase a bundle of stocks within this fund by the click of one button, instead of going out to purchase one stock here and one stock there to have all of those different stocks in your investment portfolio. The second of these points is that mutual funds are actively managed by fund managers and investment institutions. Now, because the fund manager and the investment institutions are actively managing the fund, you are getting a huge chunk of your investment taken away because of the investors or the fund managers' fees, which typically are 1% to 2%. So again, check out that video on mutual funds for a more elaborate definition or explanation of mutual funds. Now, because all of these fees were applied to your investment, someone, which we'll talk about next, created the index fund. So let's go ahead and talk about index funds. So John Bogle, also known as Jack Bogle, came along and was sick of people getting ripped off by the fees that were charged against mutual funds, and he created his own category of mutual funds, which are now index funds. Index funds follows a particular index. So when John Bogle created the index fund, he revolutionized the investment game. Now, John created the first index fund in the 1970s, and his first fund tracked the Standard & Poor 500 index. Again, index funds follow a particular index. Now, there are 2 main points to make this a little more clear. I want to say that index funds are mutual funds, but mutual funds are not index funds. And also, index funds are passively managed, whereas mutual funds are actively managed. Now, because, as you may already have assumed, the index funds are not actively managed, this took away a huge chunk of those investment fees or fund manager fees, whatever kind of fees you want to call it. That took away or got rid of those fees so that you could have or keep more of your overall investment. So let's dive a little bit deeper into an index. Earlier, I mentioned that Jack Bogle created the first index fund to closely follow the S&P 500 index. Now, keep in mind, an index is a representative sample of the stock market. So the S&P 500 is a well-known, also widely tracks stock market performance, right? So I'll say that part again. The S&P 500 is a widely known index that tracks stock market performance. So in the fund that John Bogle created, he included all of the companies that were in the S&P's 500 index into this index fund. It's important to note that because an index fund follows a particular index, the performance will be close, or the performance of that's in the market, that category, or that particular index, and this is said to outperform a mutual fund on average. So your index fund is guaranteed to give you the return that the actual index fund performance is. Now, people prefer this over a mutual fund because the mutual fund, the fund manager is actively managing what's going in and what's coming out of that particular fund, and that fund manager could be right or wrong. I would really drive home this point here, and that is many fund managers do not and cannot and will not ever beat the market, and this is why investors are more inclined to investing in index funds over mutual funds. Because index funds are not actively managed, they are passively managed, you won't get crazy fees tacked to your overall investment, and your index fund performance will mirror that of the market's performance of that particular index. That's it for now, Wealth Babe. Be sure to check back next week where I will expand on exchange traded funds, also known as ETFs. Don't forget to check out Monday's video, which was a deeper dive into mutual funds. And as always, while we're away, please remember that if you're not fully, truly, and totally committed to building wealth, then chances are you won't. Mwah.